What's up, fight fans? This is Kirk DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Deontay Wilder versus Dillian Whyte. Get this. Deontay Wilder versus Dillian Whyte in play if Tyson Fury rejects the WBC ruling. Former heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder could get called up to face Dillian Whyte for the vacant WBC title in a shocking development this month. Wilder has emerged as the potential opponent for Whyte, as the Bronze Bomber is #1 in the rankings. The American puncher kept this ranking despite losing twice to Fury in succession. At present, there is no guarantee that the interim champion Whyte will face Tyson Fury, even if the World Boxing Council rules the fight must happen through mandatory action. That's the view of Fury's UK promoter, Frank Warren. The Hall of Famer says that Fury will ultimately choose if he wants to defend the belt against Whyte. Quote, "I don't think anything will happen until the WBC has their convention, which is later this month. And I don't think that's going to happen until then." There's no rush. And there's no rush from Tyson's perspective. As I've said to everybody, it doesn't matter what anybody says. He will do what he wants to do. If the deal is right, he'll do it. If he doesn't want to do it, he won't do it. He's his own man. If Fury does move on, Whyte can expect a WBC mandatory clash with the next available contender. Right now, that's Deontay Wilder. It could be some twist if Wilder versus Whyte gets ordered, as the pair hold bad blood against each other from years of baiting back and forth, and will get revealed at the WBC convention later this month when President Mauricio Suleiman announces their final decision. The WBN understands that Otto Whyte, who was due to face Whyte until the Brit pulled out, is not said to be in the frame if Fury vacates the title. Whyte is only waiting to see if the WBC will make Whyte fight him before confirming the mandatory. That will open the door for Fury to have a voluntary before facing Whyte or Whyte. Wilder comes into play if Fury vacates as the next contender in the ratings and Whyte protests gets rejected. Wow. So, Deontay Wilder, a possible opponent for Dillian Whyte if Tyson Fury vacates. Okay, so what are the chances of Tyson Fury actually doing that? Well, for one, Tyson Fury is not a guy that looks at keeping something. He just wants to have it for a certain amount of time. I think him achieving that is worth more than holding on to that. So his mindset is opposite from other guys versus, hey, get the belt and then let me hold on to the belt. Tyson Fury's like, hey, I got the belt. You know what? I've had the other belt, so guess what? I don't really need to hold on to it because I've had it. I've had it in my possession. I've seen it. I've looked at it. I've took pictures with it. I put it on my wall and let me get rid of it because I don't want to uphold the responsibility for it. That's what I see about Tyson Fury. You know, Tyson Fury's like a guy that he achieves a goal, but then, you know, when he gets to that particular platform, he wants to shut it all down. He doesn't want to no longer continue that journey. That's just Tyson. So that could happen. Another thing you have to think about is Tyson Fury is injured with his bone spurs. So how long that takes for him to heal, right? That may be an issue with that in him making a decision right away to take a fight with another guy that was also allegedly injured, which was Dillian Whyte. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen. And then you got Mauricio Suleiman. Mauricio Suleiman could, if he doesn't really want Dillian Whyte to fight for the WBC, he can make Dillian Whyte fight Otto Whyte since that was his previous fight, which I don't see that happening because Otto Whyte was a voluntary. Okay, so, you know, but I mean, that's if Mauricio just wants something and he has another hidden agenda or whatever. I see that could possibly happen. But, or just Tyson Fury, for whatever reason, injured, healed, or whatever, don't want to fight Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte would have to fight Deontay Wilder. Now, the next question is Deontay Wilder, as much as I love to see the fight, because first of all, I would like to see Deontay Wilder versus Dillian Whyte over Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. Because of just the way Those guys I think they had more bad blood, against each other, being from across the pond, being from opposite countries, having the type one was starving like Marvin, fighting everybody that he possibly could, where the other one was put on a pedestal on the same sanctioning body on the WBC, and that was allowed to do whatever the hell he wanted on down from the sanctioning bodies, the trainers, the managers, and so forth. So, Dillian Whyte and Deontay Wilder have bad blood. And I would love to see that fight before seeing any of those guys. Now the question I do have is, why is Deontay Wilder still number one? I know it was a good fight and all, and this, that, and the other, but, you lost your belt and you were beaten twice consecutively. So how in the Hades are you still number one? The thing is, I think who would be number two would be the guy that's number one after Deontay Wilder got beat the second time. Really the first. But since he had a contractual agreement, I think that gave him the opportunity. But that wasn't based off the WBC rules. But now the WBC has placed Deontay Wilder back in the same spot, which doesn't make sense because if anything, you should want to uphold your rules because your rules were upheld by a decision that gave Deontay Wilder an opportunity to fight the champion of the belt that he lost last year. So it's weird. It's weird to me on how he's still number one. However, it looks shady, but the fight itself, I would love to see it. So if Tyson Fury wants to vacate, retire, or do whatever the hell he wants to do, let Dillian Whyte fight Deontay Wilder for it. And I guarantee you we'll have another classic fight, probably better than the trilogy that we saw in October. And that's going to take a lot because we saw one hell of a showdown. But I like the idea. It's still, again, it puzzles me how Deontay Wilder got there. But hey, I mean, look at it this way. I guess they looked at it like, hey, he fought one hell of a fight, put him back in the same position. But honestly, it's all about money. They know, hey, put Deontay Wilder back in a possible situation for a championship bout because they know he sells. They know he's exciting. They know he has haters. They know he has lovers. They know these things, and then they know, well, hey, let's bring him and put him right back so he can make some more moolah for us in the time continuing. And I think because they know what he's capable of doing. Okay. So it is what it is. I think it's a money thing. I think he was placed there for a money thing, but I would love to see him fight Dillian Whyte in the ring. Bars. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of this fantastic news between Dillian Whyte and Deontay Wilder possibly moving ahead if Tyson Fury decides to say, "C'est la vie." Tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunching. Peace.